Music is all I think about. From the moment I wake up in the morning to the moment I fall asleep at night. I was born to play. It's my reason for living. Hello? What the? Wow! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Help! I'm not done! Holy! Oh my goodness!
This week, the council. There's a soul missing.
Is this heaven?
No.
Is it H-E double hockey sticks?
Hell?
Quiet coyotes. No, it's the great before. This is where new souls get their personalities, quirks, and interests before they go to Earth. Here we are.
Wait!
Don't worry, you can't crush a soul here. That's what life on Earth is for.
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch spoiler review discussion of the latest Pixar film, Soul. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
I have a soul. Some wouldn't believe it, but there you go.
I think most would believe it, I think. If you believe in the concept of souls. So it's the latest film from Pixar, directed by Pete Docter, written by Pete Docter, Mike Jones, Kemp, starring Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, Questlove, Phylicia, Rashad, David Diggs, and Angela Bassett. Joe is a middle school band teacher whose life hasn't quite gone the way he expected. His true passion is jazz. He's good. But when he travels to another realm to help someone find their passion, he soon discovers what it means to have a soul. So of course, this is a follow-up by Pete Docter to Inside Out. And this very much feels like a spiritual successor to that to a certain degree. But interesting film, obviously released on Disney+. So if you've got Disney+, you can watch it right now. So Dylan, what do you think of Soul?
All right, I'm just gonna get out. I'm gonna set up my whole. I'm gonna set up my night, right? So I watched this last night as I'm recording. And I think I'm like 15 minutes in or something like that, probably roughly. And I'm thinking, man, am I glad that we haven't done our best of 2020 voting yet? Because like 15 minutes in, I'm thinking, wow, this movie is so far hitting all the right notes, and I'm loving it. Yeah, like literally, I'm loving everything about this movie. I was like head over heels, 15 minutes in, going, wow, ready for the rest of it, just to be to continue to be a great time. And then a thing happened and shocked me. And maybe this doesn't shock other people because I don't recall if I watched the trailer or not for this movie. So did you watch a trailer for this movie?
I did.
So is Tina Fey falling into his body in the trailer?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because I was like, I
assumed like the second half of the film was going to be fully set in the other world.
Yes, so did I. That's what I thought,
Assumed.
Right? Yes. So when we get to the part where they fall down to Earth and Tina Fey's character falls into what's the character's name again? Joe. Right, Joe's body. I was like, okay, this is taking a turn for the weird. And I'm like, if I'm feeling weird about this, white dude, there has to be there has to be some sort of a thing. Anyway, I finished watching the movie. I tweeted about it, and then I went and searched the hashtag, and I did find. Look, let me put it this way: all the people on the hashtag saying they love this movie, prominently white. The only people I could find, other than me, saying this is a bit weird, at least had a black person in the display picture. So, like, I would say, like, white people are just.
So, to be clear, what was your issue?
My issue is they seem to like it is weird. Well, hold on, let me boil it down this way, because it's not just that you have a white woman voicing a black character for the majority of the movie. I think my I'm actually disappointed in the movie more than offended. Like, I'm not actually offended. I'm just kind of disappointed because this movie, in a different world where Tina Fey's character was, I would say you cast an actual young black person as Tina Fey's character, like like an actual like teenager or something, right? So like an actual younger person, and I feel like that changes the movie because a lot of the movie actually culturally feels, in a lot of ways, like between like the jazz music, which I read afterwards, they purposely changed the character to a black person after they chose the jazz, after they said he was going to be a jazz musician. They're like, all right, we're going to change the character to a black person because that feels,
because they didn't want to step on La La Land's toes.
Or, yeah, I don't know. But also, it's between that and then like other things like his relationship with his mother, the barbershop. Like, it feels like this movie, if Tina Fey's character was a young black man, woman, whatever, like, it feels like this movie would have really been a home run for Pixar putting out a movie that would have, I assume, would have been really celebrated by, and I'm just assuming, would have been really celebrated by black people as a like cultural thing to a degree. Like the first Pixar movie starring a black lead character, and this movie also just celebrates and has a lot to do with black history and culture. But you don't have that. Instead, you have, in a lot of ways, a movie that puts a middle-aged white woman, which they try and make the whole switch make sense by having that joke earlier in the movie where they're like, he's like, "Why does your voice sound like that? Like a middle-aged white woman?" And she's like, "Oh, it can be whatever I want it to be." Like to me, that scene is solely so it can sweep under the rug any weirdness, if you know what I'm saying. Like they have that scene to have her go, "Well, you may know it's voiced by a middle-aged white woman, but in this movie, this person doesn't actually have a color, ethnicity, gender or anything." You know what I mean? They try and explain it. But which I get, and I know that's the excuse everyone's going to use, but no matter which way you swing it, everyone fucking knows it's Tina Fey, a middle-aged white woman. Like it's a highly recognizable voice and person, so you can't like swing the blinds over this one. And I feel like that's what it is. Like, I'm not offended. I just feel like I actually feel like it was a really weirdly missed opportunity to not have her be a young black person. And that would have changed the movie, I think, quite a lot. Because, look, this is what I'm saying. Like, I did not know what was happening in the movie. And I went from thinking this was going to be on my favorite movies of the year list. That's how much I was loving that first 20 minutes or whatever, 15, 20 minutes. And then how quickly I just went to, this is weird. Like, this feels weird. Like, this movie is now this non-white person that we know is clearly a white person because no matter how much they try, oh, it's not actually a person. It is a white person in the black person's body now for the rest of the movie, pretty much teaching the black person who they killed in the first 5 minutes of the movie, lol, how to get better at his life. I was like, I don't know. It felt weird to me.
Yeah, I didn't feel weird.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. Like,
that's
for the most part, every single person on Twitter is like, I love this movie, blah, 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 blah. And this is one of those kind of rare cases where because I saw nothing but people on Twitter that I follow and whatever, everyone just saying, "Oh, I love it, love it, love it, love it." The fact that I pressed play and was like, "Oh, this is going to be good. This is really good." And then all of a sudden I was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" What? Like the sudden like left field of me being like, why is no one else talking about this? I feel like I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like obviously to a certain degree you can't separate the artist from the art. Like, you know, I think that's probably the major issue. I think to a certain degree, maybe it's progressive that a white person wants to live after living the life of a black person. That's new.
I mean, that's a very big, that's a huge fucking incredible stretch, is what I would call that.
I mean, that's literally what happened, right?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like the movie to a degree is, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, but other than that, what?
I was going to say, I wanted to get that out of the way. I wanted to get that out of the way because that is my big hold up from walking away the same way I did.
That's what the issue was. Yeah, it was just purely because it was a white. I think probably more than anything, it was a contrast thing. Obviously, that's what they're going for. Very, very polar opposite.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I think I would have been less. As I'm saying, like, I think of a lot of it because there was moments where I sort of forgot about it and I was just like suddenly back into the movie. But then they go to like that barber scene, for example, and that pulled me out of it again. And that's what I'm saying. That's when I started thinking, I'm like, if this wasn't Tina Fey, this movie has so many elements that it could have been like, I feel a highly celebrated film, and it just feels weird. Like, in those elements where it feels like it's like, why is it Tina Fey? I don't know.
Yeah, I assume she was attached to the project before they changed the character. Yeah, that's why. But yes, moving on from that. Major part.
Moving on from, I wanted to get out of the way because it was my big hang up. The stuff I really liked about the movie was animation is stunning well, I think the real life stuff is obviously the standout. I wasn't like, of course, the Soul World stuff, it's very minimalistic on purpose or whatever, like abstract, of course, with all the faces and stuff. If the whole movie had been set in there, like I kind of thought it was going to be, I was like, it would have been like fine, it wouldn't have been blown away. But of course, like when the movie starts and the teacher's in that school, and if you have a 4K TV, Ash, and you watch this on 4K, I blown away continually by how highly detailed animation is these days. But when he's playing on the piano, I was like, holy fuck, all the like little tiny threads of his jumper, you could like see them all and these sorts of things. I was like, this is the next level. Also, it's just like very for Pixar, it's very like reality based, I guess, on purpose, all the human based stuff. So that stood out. The soundtrack was great, both the jazz music plus also the general just other music.
The score done by Trent Reznor, a Trisha Strong.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Which I think there was one point. There was one point there's a piece of music that kicks in when the secret lady that's voiced by Rachel House, Terry, right? The one who goes to track them down. The accountant, right? Yeah. There's a piece of music that kicks in when she begins like searching her files or whatever, and I was like, this sounds really non-Pixar. And then when I got to the credits, I was like, wow, okay, sure. Trent Reznor's having a year of working on projects I would not expect Trent Reznor to be working on, but nonetheless. And then the other shout outs, Richard Ayoade as a Councillor Jerry was, as soon as I heard his voice, I didn't know he was in it. I was quite happy because big fan.
Lots of different Jerrys though, yeah.
Richard, so
I think he was a main Jerry though.
Yeah, he was one of the main two. Like there was him and Alice Braga. Did the other. So he was like one of the main Jerrys. And then Graham Norton, who again I didn't know was going to be in there. His character was also probably one of the funniest parts of it that I could have seen more of. And I mean, I'm not the biggest Graham Norton fan, but I loved his role in this. The funny dude out twirling the sign and whatever else. I also like the fact that they never really explain realistically how, like, he starts twirling his sign and then he just zones out and travels to another dimension. But then like he just always knows what he's doing, and then if he gets shook awake in that realm, he just snaps back to it, and he can remember. I don't know. Like, I like how they never explain it. Doesn't really matter. It's a lot of fun.
Matter,
yeah. And then everything that I said aside before about Tina Fey and all that sort of stuff, there was a lot of funny cat related bits Yes. There was a lot of funny cat-related jokes and bits, yeah.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I didn't have the issues Dylan had. I think the thing I appreciate about this is the bold ideas they've brought forward for like what before life and afterlife could be. So the afterlife, you die, you end up on this giant travelator leading up to a giant bug zapper, really. The thing that made me laugh is that you hear the constant like bug zapping noise as the escalator went up, which made me laugh. That people weren't more scared of that. But
I think that
really,
the thing with the afterlife that's worth pointing out too is they never actually explain what happens after you got zapped. So it's like very
you just assume that's
but it's like neutral to a lot of religions.
Yeah.
Then like it could be you could
anything.
put
because it's going to a giant light, so it's just that one sound effect that implies a certain thing. But but yeah, then all the stuff in the great before, where they explain that where souls come from, very amusing, very sad at the same time. That we're just completely random with what personalities and aspects you get, but interesting ideas. And then I enjoyed all the 22 stuff and her having many mentors before. This feels like a very adult film, oddly. I'm assuming there's a lot of jokes in this that won't land for kids.
But
and
I felt the exact same way about Inside Out, to be fair.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the conversation that he has with that Joe has with what's her name? Dorothea at the end about the fish in the ocean. It's like, I'm looking for the ocean. You're in it. No, this is water. I feel like the meaning of that is going to go over a lot of kids' heads.
I mean, the ending of the movie is going to go over nearly all kids, like I guess, like the message of the movie, I guess, and that's because the movie itself, like the entire basis for the movie and its main character, is, I wouldn't say it's a midlife crisis thing, because I feel like I feel like you probably relate to it. I relate to it. I feel like most people who
are
old enough are going to relate to the core concept of the movie, which is some level of, maybe not everyone. There are some people who just kind of float through life.
Some people who are happy.
Some people are happy, but like I definitely straight away, as soon as the movie started, and like I straight away I could click with the main theme, and the main theme is, of course, like chasing after your goals, being scared you'll never achieve them, like family telling you to move on, get a real grasp on life and stop chasing your dreams. Like all these sorts of things that are thrown around in that first like opening 10 minutes or so. I was like, yep. like and then by the time you get to the end of the movie,
not appreciating things and the kind of mundanity of life. That kind of stuff.
Of life that you don't,
like obviously that barbershop scene, which if you listening, you should go check out the Pixar Life of Pixar, whatever the Pixar documentary series they just launched at Disney Plus. They explain how they got to how that was written and that kind of stuff, without too many spoilers. But that was a really good scene of Joe. He'd just come in there and hadn't talked about anything but the thing he liked. He knew nothing about this guy at all, and that kind of stuff. So all these people in his life that he hasn't communicated with properly. Obviously, that big scene with his mother. And I understand to a certain extent, like this person comes in and does all the things right in your life, but I think obviously life affects you in different ways, and obviously different people handle things different ways.
But the ending, because the ending doesn't reach a profound like he then lived happily ever after. Like that's something like it's going to go over kids' minds, because it doesn't show him suddenly. It doesn't show him suddenly achieving all his dreams, because that's not really the point. The point is at the end, I can't remember the exact line, but it's a really good line, of course, where the movie ends, where he says, he's like, I don't know what's going to come at me next or whatever, but I'm just going to go out there and live my life or whatever. Like, by the end of the movie, he's just, he's happy.
every
he's
moment,
he's
that kind of
yeah
stuff.
he's happy to just go out there and start living, and that doesn't mean he's suddenly going to give up on his dreams or change anything. It just means he's going to start. I mean, I took it as it suddenly means that he continues chasing his dreams, but not being so down about it if everything isn't going his way. Like he just he's more
I did appreciate them completely dismissing the idea of people's lives having purpose and that kind of stuff. That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
You humans and your purposes. Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun, but yeah, really heady film. Beautifully animated, like you said. I think it's interesting, obviously, watching the 3D and then having those 2D, obviously, characters like Jerry and Terry. Against
that one
them.
part where she grabs that random dude off the street and then Terry is like going through the chips or whatever, like is on the wall and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
completely messed him up. It was great.
Yeah, for life.
Yeah.
Which also shout out to the part at the end where they're like, "We figured out a way to get you back," and then this film has so many like almost sketch comedy cutaways to do jokes, and that was probably my favorite one. It's like, we figured out a way how to do it, and it just cuts away to where it's playing on the abacus or whatever the fuck they're called. It's like, hey Jerry, what's that over there? What? Clicks my across. Nothing. Oh, it's nothing. Must have gone. That was great.
That was great. There's so many great gags. Yeah, again, so many weird cat things. You know, who would have thought
the part where they get in the elevator and for 2 seconds it starts chasing. He starts chasing the light on the wall. There's just so many like little things that they don't spend too much time on that you laugh about for a second, I guess. And there was a lot of those cutaways that I appreciate, especially when it came to the pre-life or whatever, like with all the cutaway, the quick bits between all the 22's past mentors or whatever, or all that stuff. They were just so many quick jokes that they threw it. It's like Muhammad Ali and all these other people.
But yeah, those kind of things are very similar to like 30 Rock. Like they do the quick pan away, and then come back. Yeah, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's definitely worth watching. Yeah, and I don't. How do you rank it amongst the Pixar? For me, it didn't hit me emotionally like some of the other ones did. I like appreciate it. And I thought it was very well done, but like I wasn't bawling my eyes out like I feel like some people were. When 22 finally jumped off, it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I feel like I've kind of set up the table to already say this movie. It was I would give it like it was an okay, and I never got emotional in it, and I think I think in another word I would have got a lot more emotional given the themes and stuff if I was able to just completely dissolve myself in it like I was beginning to, but then of course I kind of got bounced out of the movie like 20 minutes in, and I think because of that I could never fully embrace it to get fully in there. So I wouldn't rank it that high amongst the rest comparatively, and I definitely wouldn't even put it close to Inside Out, and I think in Inside Out I was bowling for half the movie, so
yeah, so that's been our discussion on Soul. If you want to find more about it, discussions or just general talk, of course, check out What Do You Want to Watch on all good podcast services. Or you can go to explosionnetwork.com to find all our news, reviews, podcasts. Everything we do is over there. If you want to talk to us about the film on Twitter, you can go to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. You'll find both our Twitter handles over there. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.